Okay, boys and girls, what do we have here? Is it a club? Well, you could use it as a club, but I made this custom scraper to scrape ice and snow years ago. Hell, I made this back in the early 80s to scrape when I had a full-size Blazer, four-wheel drive. You could put a lot of force on it to scrape your windshield and with the ice and snow, and it really worked great. So I'll show you what I did. So I wanted something heavy duty. I couldn't find anything, so I thought, well, let me make my own. Happened to get this piece of, I believe it was oak, and I actually had to surface it because it was from a pallet and it still had the bark on it. So I surfaced it down and then formed it like you see here, cut it and formed it to that shape. Cut it to length. Okay, by the way, this is 34 inches long. Okay, the handle that you hold, the part that you hold here, is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. The head up here is 3.5 inches wide. So this piece is 4 inches long by 3.5 inches wide, which is also the same, obviously the same width as the head. On a table saw, I put the blade on an angle so I could cut this notch to receive this piece of 1/4 inch thick Lexan. Now Lexan is pretty much bulletproof. This stuff is very, very durable, easy to machine, and has held up for years. And if I had to, I could always take the edge and just sand it and refinish it, but it just held up excellent. Now to retain that piece of Lexan within that slot that I made was very simple. I just placed a 1/4 inch diameter brass bolt, 1/4-20. It was a flathead, so it would be below the surface, so this way when you're scraping on your car, you don't want any chance of metal hitting if you were on a lower angle. And on this side, put the nut on, put the washer, then the nut, and then I sanded it down on a belt sander, and then you'll see I peened that there so that it wouldn't loosen. Just took a center punch and hit that down, and that keeps this from turning on you without having to have any kind of a lock washer. Never had to touch it never touched it. So by having such a long arm, you can really put force on it and push down if you've got to do some heavy duty, if you've got some ice that collected on your windshield. And this thing really works good. So with that long handle that you've got plenty of leverage to push down and get your ice started. You can go like that, you'll get the ice started and it'll come off really good. I've never had a windshield scratched, never had any glass scratched by this Lexan, and it works really, really good.